All right, it is now the top of the hour. My name is Jamie King. Good afternoon, everyone. I am a program coordinator here at UAGC. I'm here with Dr. Teresa Leary Handy, who is the lead faculty of ASH 101. We are here to share how collaborative relationship building can be a tool for student success and retention. First, I would like to share that I consider myself an ally and am actively working toward becoming an advocate for a variety of different things, including gender inclusion. One of the ways that I have demonstrated my support is through my involvement in various university initiatives here at UAGC. Right, Teresa?
Yes, Jamie, I feel the same way. As a full-time faculty member at UAGC, immersing myself in university and programs and initiatives has always been a way for me to not only learn more about ways to better serve our students, but also to engage with faculty and staff from other programs and departments. One of the ways I reached out to the university community was through the University Fellows Program grant I was awarded for my Walk the Talk research study last year. The study examined how faculty move from the discussions of equity to the implementation of equity practices in the learning environment. And that's exactly where I met Jamie. Jamie and I crossed paths not only with the UFP project, but with other UAGC initiatives, such as Culture of Care and Turn the Tide. Jamie had an extraordinary view of equity issues and how they connected to our students. We ended up meeting after some of our sessions to connect our ideas on how to serve our UAGC students best. We realized that through sharing and storytelling, we built a solid professional relationship and, dare I say, friendship that allowed us to share and learn, which helped us to better serve our students with intention.
You know, Teresa, one of the ways I developed an understanding of the issues that many of our students face is through a variety of trainings. I have participated in the factuality training, the equity talk to equity walk book study, the Power of One 2-day immersive institute with Dr. Donna Beagle. And I've also completed a number of numerous different LinkedIn workshops on diversity topics, which means that I've learned a lot of information about socioeconomic status inclusion, racism, discrimination, and gender identity inclusion. One of the most important lessons I learned is that supporting institutional change means that I have to build partnerships and relationships beyond my department. All right, so we would like to know how you feel about collaborating with other departments. If you use the QR code scanner, you can read that code there. I'm also going to go ahead and post a link in the chat. You can open it up right in your browser. And you should have that now. Your screen sharing went off, Dr. Handy.
So do you want, I'm pulling up the AHA slide.
Oh, okay.
So we can see the, okay, perfect. Let's see. Jamie, actually, I can't pull it up on here. Do you have it on yours?
Yes, I do.
Perfect.
One moment.
It's not letting me connect it.
No worries at all. I'm going to go ahead and share that.
Okay.
So perfect. Let me put mine in presenter view. All right, and here you are.
So let's look at the results.
All right, so what you're going to be able to do is if you've used the link that I shared or scanned the result, you should be able to type a word. This is actually a word cloud. So you can go to this link. I'm going to put it in the chat again for you one more time. And can you all see my screen?
Yes, we see your screen.
All right. As soon as you click on that link, it should take you to where it looks like this. And you'll be able to enter a word fairly simply.
Welcome the opportunity. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Anxious, nervous. A lot of unknowns when you're doing that crossover.
Oh,
stressed. Yes, exactly. Apprehensive. We'll give it a couple more seconds. All right. So yes, those are some of the same feelings that I'm going to go back to sharing. Those are some of the same feelings that I had even, Jamie, is the screen okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, perfect. When I was trying to figure out how to build those bridges and how do you cross over. So yes, what do you think, Jamie? How did you feel?
Excited and nervous at the same time. I felt excited for the learning opportunity, nervous just about meeting people that I didn't know. And so both a mixture of anxious, nervous, and excited.
Right. And I think when when the Provost Steinberg was speaking this morning, she talked about how you just have to be bold and just kind of go out and do, speak your ideas and share your ideas. And that's kind of how you and I started talking about. We didn't even know about protocols and who all the players were, but we really just took a leap. And I think that's because we also believe, is something Provost Steinberg said this morning, is that it takes a village. You know, Martin and Meyer says that if you're going to increase student success, it requires a sustained effort from all directions. And it's not the sole responsibility of any single office or person. There's no magic bullet. The first step is a strong administrative support of the initiatives, which we have at UAGC. However, for real change to occur, it's imperative to bear in mind the complex issues that are involved. The reason is that institutions are bureaucracies made up of personalities, politics, and priorities, which means that change cannot be handed down from the top. Faculty, staff, and students, all stakeholders, must be invested and involved in the process. And I was really happy to hear Provost Steinberg say that this morning in her opening remarks, that it takes a village, because it does take each and every one of us. Frequent communication about this process is the best way to share useful tips and to keep everyone abreast of the changes that occur. One of the ways I do that is through a faculty page for our faculty that teach ASH 101. In addition, by keeping lines of communication open, trusting relationships can grow, which cannot happen by accident. It's important that people move with intention. We will speak more about intentionality later, because it can be uncomfortable bringing someone from the outside of your department to the table. However, you must bring the right person to the table to get the new perspective that you seek. As we think about how these trusting relationships are formed, we know that shared goals, student success and retention, must be the foundation.
Absolutely, Teresa. Student success and retention must be the foundation, and a lot of that relies on an understanding of oral culture. According to the Power of One training, incorporating oral cultural skills into service work can be accomplished by the following 8 steps. The first thing that you need to do is focus on relationship building. It's super important to make sure that you are giving that attention, listening actively, and really building that relationship. Secondly, it's important to improve your communication using stories. The third thing is to allow time flexibility for spontaneity, which includes multiple learning approaches. Fifth, use repetition. If you're trying to reach out to a student and you haven't heard back, you don't know what they have going on in their at this point in time in their life, reach out again. Make sure that you use repetition to get that relationship built. Understand the immediacy of poverty and the need to help people. The 7th step is breaking things into manageable steps. The smaller the steps, the more manageable they become. And then the final step is allow for connecting and relating to emotions. So with that said, we would like to turn to our audience. And so we're curious to know, are there barriers at your organization or institution that prevent you from collaborating with other staff and faculty? And I'm going to go ahead and launch that poll. And then if you would like to let us know what those barriers are in the chat, we would love to hear from you.
I launched the poll and you were talking just to kind of get it going.
It is launched.
Yes, it's launched. Yep.
Okay.
And don't forget, put into the chat what specifically those barriers are, if there are any.
Okay, so it looks like we have got 56%. Oh, people are still answering. Okay. So far, about half of our audience has answered the poll. So please be sure to answer that poll.
And if you want to send the message to us privately, I'm happy to read your response privately. So I'll read the chat out loud. So some of the barriers, I don't know that there are specific barriers from the organization, but that doesn't mean that I don't sometimes create them. Exactly, Elena. Hierarchy, yes, sometimes need to go through the correct channel. And then sometimes we don't know what that channel is, Susan. Yes, great. We're going to keep the poll up, right, until everyone gets a chance to respond, we think.
Maybe give them a few more seconds. It looks like we've got 13 out of 18 right now. We're at 62%. Have said yes, and then 38% have said no. For those of you that have said yes, feel free to let us know what those barriers are in the chat.
I think I didn't quite understand the organizational structure. And I think when Susan's talking about hierarchy, that's what she's also referencing. And so you never want to overstep. And so I think always asking questions was kind of my process.
Absolutely. And I think groups that we have here, like Turn the Tide and different initiatives that allow different departments to come together and share ideas, I think is one of the best ways to break down some of those barriers. I was just thinking the other day, so often we meet as departments. So we've got our own ideas, we've got our own initiatives, but being able to come together in different work groups and do different trainings and things like that really kind of helps us to all stay on the same page and get information from other departments that we can use within our own.
Right.
I am going to go ahead and end the poll. It looks like we are 62% yes. So I'm going to share the results. Can everyone see it?
I can't see anyone's face, so you'll have to.
Yes. I should see the results to the poll. Okay.
Perfect. Yes, okay. I saw the results of the poll.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Well, one of the ways we talked about hierarchical challenges, but one of the ways you can sometimes combat those collaborative relationships, or a barrier could be the communication, right? And so communication theory can best be described as a way to map the world. And when you're talking about oral culture and how people communicate, this is kind of the foundation for that. According to Frank Dance, a person's communication starts at birth and continues as life progresses. Communication usually moves forward, but there are also cases of it moving backwards. This is because memories and impressions from the past also influence the present. There are many approaches to communication theory, and in our case, we will use the organizational lens and the sociocultural lens. Organizational communication is a set of assumptions about organizations that detail the language and social interactions that promote coordinated action toward a common goal for an institution. The sociocultural communication theory explores the use of symbols and language and how they sustain and transmit organizational information. This model provides a deeper understanding and insights on how to most effectively influence, sustain, and enhance a healthy and dynamic organizational culture. When we think about organizational communication theory, one seminal author, Max Weber, comes to mind. He noted that there are 5 key principles to the bureaucracy model. And as I share these, I want you to think about your role at your institution or organization. Hierarchical means that each level controls the level below and is also controlled by the level above. Management by rules means that rules made at the higher levels allow consistency with the lower levels. Next is organization by functional specialty, which means that work is done by specialties and people are organized into business units based on the type of work they do or the skills they have. Finally, is purposely impersonal, which means that a manager is expected to treat all employees equally and all customers equally. That means no nepotism or favoritism allowed. With this framework, it is easy to see how faculty and staff seem to work in silos by design. However, if we are building collaborative relationships we need for student retention, we must create synergy, and we will talk more about that later. What we have to do is create the connections on the virtual campus that we can more easily see in a brick and mortar institution. Every day we exist in a world that has detailed communication systems. We receive and share ideas that govern our identity, influence us as individuals, and our culture. The sociocultural communication theory is a theory which puts all of this in a social context and explores the complex social dynamics of how we interact, how we communicate, and how we interpret and explore the world. Reflecting on our student population that includes open access students, it was clear to me that we have to be intentional about the way we introduce resources to our students. Understanding self and others is the first dimension of the 4 dimensions of a principal leadership theory developed by Dr. Reginald Green. He asserts that 4 dimensions address the principal behaviors that are positively influencing the school effectiveness. So if you connect those to what we're trying to do in a higher education form, I want you just to kind of go with me here, because I really loved what Dr. Green said, which is that if you use these 4 theories, these 4 dimensions, you can transform underperforming schools into schools of excellence. And what are those 4 dimensions? Understanding self and others, understanding the complexity of organizational life, building bridges through relationships, and engaging in best leadership practices. Sounds like some things that we do automatically in higher education. So I assert that Dr. Green's theory can be used as a framework for fostering collaborative relationships for student retention with mid-career higher education professionals. And this is where Jamie's efforts to understand others comes into play. Jamie, can you tell us a bit more about some of the initiatives we have that allow UAGC stakeholders to collaborate with one another to improve student retention?
Yes, Teresa, absolutely. UAGC has various initiatives that allow departments to collaborate with one another and improve the chance of student success and graduation. As I shared earlier, my awareness has been heightened. As a CHAMPS program coordinator, my role is student-facing, and I have face-to-face interactions with students all the time. Creating a more inclusive learning environment is at the forefront of many groups of which I've been a part. The initiatives revolve around the culture of care. Turn the Tide is one of those initiatives, actually one of the first groups that I joined here at UAGC, where staff from all different departments can join together to enhance their understanding of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we can learn how to leverage our knowledge to better serve our students. The knowledge translates into initiatives like live learning, which is a key example of something phenomenal that drives inclusion and peer-to-peer engagement. Topics like socioeconomic status inclusion and gender identity are essential to better understand our diverse student population. A key takeaway of mine from Turn the Tide is that empathy and respect are essential. It is essential that we be authentically empathetic, cognitively aware of what is appropriate to share, and focused on emphasizing similarities rather than differences. That's really important for that relationship building. Another training that I did, one of the initiatives was the factuality training, and I took part in the Equity Talk to Equity Walk. Both of these helped me to be more genuinely able to empathize and understand others from different backgrounds. The Power of Run really put things into perspective for me as well. And it made me realize that it is necessary to give grace. You never know what our students have going on in their lives. They're juggling all sorts of different things. And the fact that they are striving to achieve a degree while battling life's challenges shows admirable resilience. Finally, I would be remiss if I did not mention CHAMPS mentoring. As a CHAMPS program coordinator, I've worked with lots and lots of students. The CHAMPS program was developed by Evan Gray, the Associate Director of Student Success. Evan actually started this program back in 2014 on the belief that students helping students is a powerful thing. It is now part of UAGC's First Experience initiative. This program has grown tremendously over the years. CHAMPS provides students with support, networking opportunities, peer-to-peer interaction, student development, and paves the way toward achieving academic success. By participating in CHAMPS, mentees gain a better understanding of UAGC resources, student best practices, and develop a support system within CHAMPS and beyond. And I am actually going to post in the chat here for everyone the link if you would like more information about CHAMPS mentoring. And before we launch into this next poll, which would just be a chat question, I did want to let everyone know that we do have some responses over in Whova, acknowledging some of those barriers that people encounter. Sometimes it's simply just finding the time to get folks together. That was an answer from Jen Robinson. Jesse Upshaw said that our own processes sometimes get in the way for some of these collaborative opportunities. These are opportunities for reflection and self-assessment and bringing action items to the table to break those down. The next poll that we have is actually, we want to know, after participating in today's presentation, do you see value in collaborating with other departments? You can answer this right in the chat and let us know what departments you feel like may be useful for you to collaborate with. And I'm posting this question right now also over on the Whova side.
Do you have any, let's see if I can see any, no, nothing on in Zoom with departments that people can collaborate with. So we'll just leave that question open if you put that in both chats.
I'm putting it in this one right now as well. I'm not seeing the poll for it. I thought there was actually a Zoom poll for that.
I can launch that if you want to head on over to your next slide. I'll launch it. Yep.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Teresa. Okay. So being intentional is super important. This is the next thing that we're going to talk about. Being intentional is an important key to student success and retention. According to an article entitled How Being Intentional Can Help You on Your Road to Success, published by Webster State University, intentionality brings more meaning to our lives and improves commitment and focus. Being intentional can help us maintain a positive mindset, reach goals, experience more clarity, and be more present. Marginality is a sense of not fitting in, and it can lead to self-consciousness, irritability, and depression. For some, these feelings can be permanent. Feelings of marginality often occur when people begin a new experience and they feel uneasy about their ability and what their role is or should be in that experience. Students fail academically and socially when they feel marginalized and when they feel that they don't fit in. We must be intentional about making sure that our students do not feel that way, taking part in university initiatives, enhancing our understanding, practicing active listening, and being cognizant about the changes that we want to see and the culture that we're trying to create are essential. According to Schlossberg, Lynch, Chickering, 1989, student success depends on the degree to which students feel that they matter. Mattering refers to the beliefs people have, justifiably or not, that they matter to someone else, that they are the objects of someone else's attention, care, and appreciation. In the collegiate environment, students must believe that they matter and that others, peers, faculty, staff, family, that others around them care about them. They must have a sense of belonging if they are to succeed. They must feel appreciated for who they are and what they do. If they are to grow, develop, and succeed in college, they have to know that they matter. If students feel out of things, ignored by the mainstream, or unaccepted, they will feel marginal and are therefore less likely to succeed in college. Minority students in predominantly white institutions are often most susceptible to these feelings of marginality. And this is why our culture of care is so important, because we just absolutely must make sure our students know that we care about them.
Exactly. We have to have a student first approach. And we really must have to understand where our students are coming from, who they are, what their differences are, and how differentiated approaches are necessary. We must address communication barriers and incorporate oral cultural skills into our service. During my UFP project, I was able to learn that in some cases, faculty struggled connecting with their students because they did not fully understand their backgrounds, as it was so different from their own. Building bridges through engaging discussions during those first 2 weeks of the course is important. And in those conversations lie the opportunities to share resources that are available to help our students fulfill their dreams. We have to function as a tour guide of sorts, which aligns with my teaching philosophy. But it is difficult to be a tour guide if we are not aware of the services available for the students in our care. Providing students with visuals beyond the written descriptions is so important. Students need to see the virtual university they are attending beyond the student portal and the LMS page. So how do you bring it alive and connect them to the virtual university? How consistently do you connect them to it? You intentionally connect them through their stories, and you listen to those stories. You work hard to connect what you want them to learn with what they are living and doing every day. The loop around student retention is quite complex, and it takes collaboration to address it. And fostering cooperation between advisors and faculty in supporting students is recommended. So what are we really talking about? Fostering is a synergy among stakeholders. And what does this look like? It looks like encouraging advisors to communicate with their students, promoting collaboration between faculty and advisors. It looks like encouraging administrators to solicit insights from advisors and faculty, but also mentoring among online students to promote their engagement, which are many of the initiatives that we see at UAGC. Being intentional is when you are being seen by your students, okay? You wanna be the light that they need. You wanna move beyond the commenter role and get into videos and provide opportunities for live meetings. You wanna demonstrate understanding self and others by not only knowing your story, but working to understand your student's story as well. Be intentional in how you engage with students. Pinpoint those resources they may not even know they need. Find the synergy between support and encouragement. Supportive, but always keeping the standard high. Help students connect with the institution through student groups, conferences. I know that I love sharing our rich early childhood education conference, the speaker series, and the podcast with students. Those become resources they can take with them into the workplace. Think about what we are doing through all of this is helping our students be the authors of their own stories, which is knowing themselves and their why for being in college. Now we want to ask you to put into the chat your one takeaway from today. And as we do that, we're going to move into our next slide, which I think
I can go ahead and share. I can go ahead and share the screen for the next one. I've already got it up. Perfect. And I would like everyone to know that I have already posted that question in the chat and in Whova, and we have a response from Harla Frank, who says, making students feel seen and heard is an important part of student satisfaction and success. So
Jamie, before you do that, I want to quickly go through, because we can make your slide, the last one, which is the word cloud. But I want to just say thank you to everyone. Jamie's going to put our contact information in the chat, and then here's our reference list, and I will stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And I went ahead and put that contact information in there. And so this final one is a word cloud. You can scan this QR code with your phone if that's easier for you. I did also put the link to join in here. I'm going to put it in the chat one more time because it looks like it's kind of far up there now. So and I have it over on the Whova side as well. So I'm going to pop it in over there again. And so what we would like to know from you is, what is one department you plan to collaborate with after this conference? We encourage you to collaborate with other departments. So, okay, this is great.
And, you know, I am in the middle of a course. I'm in the middle of a course uplift, and I can tell you, I'm reading the chat. We had meetings with advising, and that was absolutely eye-opening. And so we had 100% response that there is a definite value in participating with, collaborating with other departments, Jamie, from the poll. Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. That is great to know. So I'm actually over here on the, just making sure it's working right. And I'm receiving a notice that it is maximum participant limit exceeded for this presentation. So it doesn't look like they're having issues with it. I sure do hope not. So these are all great. Advising, student affairs. I have to recommend putting student affairs on that list. That we are front facing. We know what's going on in our students' day-to-day lives. So definitely these are all wonderful. And then if you guys would like to vote for which of these ideas that you think are awesome, I think they're all awesome.
Yes, I definitely think that advising. So why don't we open up the floor for questions? We're right at 3:31. We want to respect your time, and we know there are other sessions about to start, but if there are any questions, we're happy to spend some time answering those. If not, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, let me go ahead and say thank you, Jamie King and Dr. Teresa Handy, for your presentation on collaborative relationship building, a tool for student success and retention. Thank you also to the audience for your participation in our polls and questions. This ends today's presentation, but please return tomorrow to enjoy our second day of the TLC 2022, starting at 10 a.m. And, you know, we could, if there are any questions in the chat or on Whova, we could just, we're the last one. We're it. So are there any questions out there, Jamie?
I am not seeing any questions. I would like to say, though, that if any of you are in here and you're apprehensive about joining groups, that's how I met Teresa. She's became my friend. I've learned so much from her. We've learned from each other. Don't be apprehensive. Take that step. Join those groups, especially Turn the Tide. If you have an opportunity to be a part of it, there are two different opportunities that we do. One is a book club plugin. The other one involves getting together and going over articles and different videos. I participate in both, but definitely don't pass up those opportunities.